So today I want to dissect Wukong's journey that's shown in that final cinematic. But before I do, I think y'all should see it one last time.
What does it matter if you become a Buddha? That headband has always been on your head.
Keep those eyes. Watch me rip it off and break free.
Soon, Wukong, when you defied the Celestial Court, I had to seal you beneath the mountains with my immense power. Yet, after enduring punishment, you embraced the dark, uplifted good against evil, and subdued Yao throughout the journey. For your contribution, I now bestow upon you the title of Victorious Fighting Buddha.
He defied the Celestial Court, and the Jade Emperor imposed 3 ordeals. Only when the chicken finishes pecking the rice, the dog laps up the flowers, and the lamp burns through the key, the rain will fall.
Bottoms up, brothers. One final toast before we crash the Celestial Palace.
What does it matter if you become a Buddha? That headband has always been on your head.
Keep those eyes wide open.
So this is obviously just a reference to Wukong's plan throughout the game to escape the golden headband. And it also sets a precedent of something that this game does a lot, starting with the ending. Even in this flashback, it starts with the ending. This whole flashback to Wukong's life starts with his death before he remembers his journey to the west. And when he remembers that, it begins at the end. This game really likes inversing things. All the cinematics that you will see from this point on in this flashback will be played in reverse.
Watch me rip it off and break free.
Soon, Wukong.
Okay, so in true Black Myth Wukong fashion, they start with the end. This scene right here is the end of Journey to the West. As you can tell, this is Buddha. This right over here, that little guy that I just drew over his head, is Cha Wujin. This little guy right there, that's Zhu Baji, obviously the Monkey King, and Tripitaka. Now, Tripitaka in this game is known as Ting Monk. Anyway, Buddha grants, in this scene, he grants Tripitaka and Wukong Buddhahood. He grants Cha Wujin to become an Arhat. Now, I know that sounds like an insult, but in Chinese mythology, an Arhat is like a wise guy. It's a sage, basically. The horse that Tripitaka rode on throughout the entire journey became a snake-like creature at the end of this. It became and I quote, a Naga. Zhu Baji, he was able to turn into the Great Altar Cleanser, which basically means that he can eat the offerings that people make to gods. So all in all, everybody got something good out of it. Except for Zhu Baji. I feel like he got pretty disrespected here.
When you defied the Celestial Court, I had to seal you beneath the mountains with my immense power.
As you can see, they take off Wukong's headband, which is like exploding in the background whenever he becomes a Buddha. But in the lore of the game, they are liars, and the headband stays on just secretly. I know I drew the headband horribly, but deal with it. They secretly keep it on so that they can keep him in control, because he is fucking wild. He's insane. If you guys knew half of the shit that he did, you would understand why they did it.
Yet, after enduring punishment, you embraced the dark, uplifted good against evil, and subdued Yao boys throughout the journey.
So going by my notes, I have no clue whatsoever on what's happening here. All that I know is that this turtle is the same turtle that we saw whenever Zhu Baji was released in Black Myth Wukong. I couldn't really find what that turtle is. I think it's the Great Turtle General, who was allied with the Great Snake General, but I couldn't find the story that links to this at all. It just kind of shows up. So do with that what you will, because I have no clue what this is.
For your contribution, I now bestow upon you the title of Victorious Fighting Buddha.
He defied the Celestial Court, and the Jade Emperor imposed 3 ordeals. Only when the chicken finishes pecking the rice, the dog laps up the flowers, and the lamp burns through the key, the rain will fall.
This one is weird, because I couldn't find the reason why, but the Jade Emperor, who is a primordial god, and serves the 3 pure ones, who are like the big shots of Taoism, he stopped rain from falling in the Fangjian County until a chicken the size of a fist ate a mountain of rice 30 feet high. A dog licked up a 60-foot pile of flour, and when a candle burns through a metal lock the size of a finger, so basically this thing right up here, the thing that's keeping like the lock together, until that burns through from the flame. which is down here on the other side of the lock. I have no clue why he did this, but when the ruler of the county repented and followed their teachings, the Jade Emperor forgave him and skipped all this bullshit. He basically just let rain fall again. He's like, okay, you're chill now. Don't know where he came up with this. He was probably just plotting it in his room for centuries, but he did it. You know, he just popped off for no good reason. This one's a bit fucking weird, but all of these stories are, so just bear with me, okay? Basically, there was this white deer. You know, he has like the antlers and everything. He was a South Pole god's mount. And the deer stole that god's staff, picked up a fox spirit, and married her to the ruler of Bequi, the Bequi kingdom. The deer, pretending to be the fox's father, becomes the king's father-in-law and starts making the king sick, promising him that the only cure for the sickness is the hearts of, and I quote, 1,111 children. So the king orders 1,111 children to be caged and their hearts to be taken. It seems like there's no good guy in this story so far, but just hold up, okay? Because the gang shows up, and the white deer tells the king that Tang Monk, the master that Sha Wujin, Zhu Baji, and Wukong all serve, they say that Tang Monk's Tripitaka's heart is actually a better cure than 1,111 babies. I want to reiterate that because that is fucking insane. And captures Tang Monk, making Wukong, the hero of the story, save the children and expose the deer and fox as demons. In classic Baji fashion, though, he kills the fox spirit. The only story that I found that could fit this is when Wukong fought Buddha's uncle. Yeah, this bird with the golden wings underneath is actually Buddha's uncle. His name is the golden winged great peng, which is, a peng is a Chinese bird. It was so strong that Buddha himself, which was this frame, had to show up and drive his drunk uncle back home to Vulture Peak, which is basically Buddha's hangout. Okay, so this one's pretty straightforward. This red snake is the python demon, whose forked tongue is like a spear. And she ate a ton of people, which prompted Wukong to get eaten by her and kill her from the inside. Basically, like, bursting out of her stomach or some shit. All gory. Like Drax. So, this serpent that's munching into our little man, Zhu Baji, is the nine-headed beast. As you can see, he has almost 9 heads. He was married to the daughter of the Wangshen Dragon King from Emerald Waves Lake. The beast and his father-in-law conspired to steal a Buddhist relic, which kind of looked like a plate with a bunch of like pearls in it. That was in a pagoda, which I think looks like this. Once they stole it, and they intended for this to happen, but once they stole it, as you can see in the background, blood started raining down on the land. The king of that land blames the monks of the pagoda for the eclipse-like scenario that is happening. Wukong figures out who's the real culprit is. He kills the Dragon King and the nine-headed beast with Baji. Though, in these stories, I like to point out, Baji isn't a whole lot of help. Okay, the only time that he really helps is whenever like they're trapped underwater, because Wukong isn't that good underwater. But whenever it comes to like fighting on land, Wukong's the one that really pulls his weight. You know what I mean? This sad scene, Wukong is holding the six-eared macaque. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right because I'm going to be saying it a lot. But the six-eared macaque is near omniscient because he has huge ears, which I find hilarious. His and Wukong's powers are about even with each other. They have very similar powers. So the macaque tried to replace Wukong to get his reward from Buddha at the end of the journey. The replication was so good that the headband chant that Tripitaka uses to control Wukong also worked on the macaque, causing the two to appear before Buddha, who tells them that they are two of the only 4 spiritual primates that are not classified under the 10 categories all beings are under. So basically, they're like these 10 classifications that every single living thing falls under. But there are 4 that have appeared from outside of it. One of which is the 6-eared macaque. The other one is the intelligent stone monkey, which is another name for Sun Wukong. As you know by now, since if you played this and saw the ending cinematic, Wukong was born from a stone, so he's the intelligent stone monkey. The macaque tries to run away after hearing this, but Buddha traps him under a gold alms bowl. So this is an alms bowl. It's what Buddha uses to get money from people. I don't know who's paying Buddha, but he has one. Underneath that, Wukong kills the fake Wukong. So I don't know if he's having like an existential crisis here or what, but it obviously affected him. This is the single-horned rhinoceros king, who was later revealed to be Tai Shang Laojun's Azure Bull. So he pretended to be the rhinoceros king. And this guy stole his master's gold jade ring, which is this right up here. It is an alternate weapon made to capture Wukong back in his wild days. After the rest of the gang is captured, Wukong tries to fight, but his staff got taken away instead. And so Wukong goes and seeks aid from Li Jing, Netza, the fire deities, and the 18 Arhats. You know, the Arhats, the thing that Sandy Xiao Wujin, one of the 4 people that go on this journey to the west, becomes. These are like the 18 of the best. So they're all kind of deity level. They all have their weapons taken away, and eventually he is subdued and taken back to his master for causing trouble. So it was just kind of like a crossover, basically, with other deities' stories. This whole scene is basically like the journey to the West's Marineford. It is a kind of long, it even lasts multiple chapters, I'm pretty sure, of the journey. So this is from the Terry cart. Spelling this wrong because whatever. This is from the Terry cart arc of the Journey to the West. And it starts by the gang finding Buddhist monks enslaved by Taoists to haul carts of building materials to their abbey, to the Taoist abbey. Their enslavement comes from a royal punishment after losing a bet to 3 mysterious Taoist priests. What the hell? Okay. 3 mysterious Taoist priests who are named the Tiger Strength Great Immortal, who we're going to call Tiger, the Deer Strength Great Immortal, who's going to be known as Deer, and the Goat Strength Great Immortal, who's going to be the Goat. Wukong and the gang sneak in to the Taoists' abbey disguised as the three pure ones. You remember the people that are like at the top of the chain, the people that the Jade Emperor serves? Yeah, they disguised themselves as them. And they tricked the Taoists into thinking that their piss was a magical elixir. This causes them to enter into a series of magical competitions authorized by the country's ruler, the same one that gave the enslaved Buddhists their punishment after losing the bet. The same ruler authorizes them to have another one. Wukong, in this very scene, you're just going to have to deal with the line of piss here. Wukong, in this very scene, helps Tang Monk with the first competition. He helps him meditate. I don't know who he was meditating against. I don't know what it was, but basically Wukong helps him keep his focus during this competition, and they win. In the next ones, Wukong then goes on to behead the tiger after winning in his competition, eviscerate the deer, and this might be the worst one. He boils the goat in a thing of oil, which is horrible. Turns out these Taoist priests were actually animal spirits. I have no clue how they didn't know whenever they look like this and they named themselves after animals, but whatever. I digress. After winning their competition, the gang was good to go and continue their journey towards India. I have no clue what's going on here either. Couldn't find anything for it. So if you know what's going on here, please drop a comment, because I would really like to know. This looks really interesting to me. So this scene is pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. You know, Wukong and his clones are in pain while Tripitaka, Tang Monk, is reciting the headband tightening chant. You know, he's basically just putting to use the headband that... Okay, so here we go. Let's go into a little bit of the lore behind this. So the headband was given to Tang Monk by the patron deity of this journey, which was the Bodhisattva of mercy, named Bodhisattva Guan Yin. The same deity also told Tang Monk to find Baji and to find Sha Wujin and to enlist them. And I won't go too far, but a popular theory is that that old monkey at the end of Black Myth Wukong that puts the headband back on to the Destined One is actually Bodhisattva Guan Yin, who is re-enslaving Wukong. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Tang Monk wasn't the one that made the headband tighten around Wukong's head at the beginning of Black Myth, but the only other person that could have done it is Guan Yin. So, plus that one monk had like that. You remember the robe stuff that they had like in their arms with their head like right here, and it kind of went behind their head? That's kind of a common deity thing. You know, they have like this floating robe around them. So that old monkey was one of the only people that we saw in the game to have it. It could be very well Bodhisattva Guan Yin. This antagonist was encountered pretty early on in the journey. It is the White Bone Demon, and it kind of instilled trust issues between the members of the group. The demon, wanting to eat Tang Monk out of the belief that his flesh grants power and or immortality, which is a common belief throughout this book. She transforms herself into a village girl and gives a fruit to poison them. Wukong is the only one who sees through her disguise and kills her, which gets Tang Monk angry. The demon returns as an old woman, saying that the girl was her daughter, but Wukong kills her again, further angering Tang Monk. The demon returns for a third time as an old man, asking where his wife and daughter is. But secretly, the demon was taunting Wukong into killing him a third time, which is what we're seeing here, the demon whispering into his ear. After Wukong gives in and kills the demon for the third and luckily final time, the gang had enough, and Tripitaka banished Wukong, who went back to the Water Curtain Cave, which is his hometown on Mount Huago. Tang Monk was captured later by the Yellow Robe Demon, and Baji had to come and pick up Wukong. He had to go get him to help him. We know that this is the White Bone Demon because as soon as this scene starts, you see the demon creeping up behind Wukong with this. If you do not know what this is, go back to school. So this is a magical ginseng tree, which is, I believe, heavily tied to Tripitaka's past, Tang Monk's past. It bears fruit in the shape of crying babies. Why? This fruit is capable of extending the life of whoever eats them by 47,000 years. And by the way, side note, this doesn't have much to do with the story, but I'm pretty sure that I have seen a place like this in China. So you might even be able to go and visit the area that inspired this. Pretty cool, in my opinion. Thought you all would like to know. So we keep on going further and further back, but I would like to take this chance to explain who this guy is. Obviously, this is Baji, the little cute furry that follows us on our journey throughout the game. But this guy is Sha, I know I spelled that wrong, Sha Wujing. Baji mistakenly attacks Wujing, Tang Monk's third disciple, and who was a former admiral of the court, just like Baji, who made a mistake and was severely punished for it. Bodhisattva Guanyin chose him as the third and final companion for Tang Monk, and so Tang Monk had to stop Baji from attacking him, yada yada. What I really want to get into here is about Sha Wujin's story. He did not appear in Black Myth Wukong, though he could appear in the expansion that I just saw today they were working on. So before that comes out, give you a little bit of background, because this game really does expect you to know what these characters are, who these characters are, and what they've done. So Sha Wujin was a former admiral of the court, just like Baji. So these two are very similar in that respect. He, either in a fit of rage or accidentally, the stories kind of differ there, dropped a rare vase that I guess was really well liked by the Jade Emperor. And so he received 800 lashings and was sent down, turned into a human-eating ogre that lived in a quicksand river. And some stories even say that from time to time, the Jade Emperor would send down swords to pierce him in a bunch of non-lethal areas and heal him, kind of like Prometheus, to torture him. Baji, who coveted one of the most powerful goddesses, got the better punishment, so to speak. There's no punishment that's good, but if I had to choose one between these two, I would choose Baji. I would rather look like a pig than have to deal with what Sha Wujin had to deal with. But on a lighter note, Sha Wujin in this story is basically the straight guy. He's the guy that's kind of upstanding and the normal reaction to all the antics that the other three gets into. Tang Monk finds, and with the help of Guan Yin, breaks Wukong free from his punishment of being trapped under a mountain for 500 years, a punishment that was given to him by Buddha. The lore behind this is fucking wild, and I personally love it. It might even be my favorite one that I read. But what happened is, after causing immense chaos to the Celestial Court and just really fucking everything up, the Jade Emperor went and begged Buddha to do something about Wukong. And so Buddha approached Wukong and made a bet with him. He made a bet that no matter how far Wukong goes, he would not be able to escape his hand. Wukong, thinking that Buddha was a moron, got on his cloud, flew to like the end reaches of the universe, looked around, and only saw 5 pillars. And he thought, there's no way that he could even find me out here. And out of feeling disrespected yet again by the Celestial Court and the gods, he decided to whip his dick out and piss on the largest of the 5 pillars, which turned out to be Buddha's hand. So Wukong never really escaped. I like to think that Buddha got completely mad at Wukong, and so stuck him underneath a mountain for 500 years to repent, as a punishment for all the chaos that he was bringing. But him just pissing on Buddha's middle finger is hilarious to me. This happened after Wukong caused a little bit of trouble for the Celestial Cult and the Celestial, the Celestial Court and the Jade Emperor. But the cause of this is that Wukong, after getting disrespected twice by the Celestial Court and Jade Emperor, decided to go back to Mount Huago and declare himself as the great sage equal to heaven, which eventually provoked the Celestial Court into sending down their army, led by Erlang Shen. There are some stories that say that Wukong completely beat the Celestial Court and was a match for Erlang Shen, that they were more or less equal, but Erlang Shen won. There are some stories that say that they were completely tied, and a guy named famous guy named Lao Tzu, who Wukong ate immortality pills from, he's kind of like a Sun Tzu. Yeah, that might even be related. I haven't looked into that, but he is very wise and very well respected amongst the Chinese people, and so he was part of the Celestial Court, and Wukong snuck into his room up there and ate his immortality pills, granting himself immortality. Anyway, got sidetracked. There are stories that Lao Tzu threw an emerald ring at Wukong after him and Erlang Shen were running around shapeshifting into many different things, trying to one up each other. And that the only reason Wukong lost, instead of just continuously tying Erlang Shen, was because of Lao Tzu. Now, I would like to point out a little bit of fun tidbit of information, because if you did not know anything about Erlang Shen before this game, you would be wondering, just like me before I looked into this, why is he, a servant of the court, suddenly helping Wukong in this true ending, holding his mind for him so that he can break free? The reason why is because Erlang Shen is the nephew of the Jade Emperor. The Jade Emperor's sister fell in love with a human, which got the Jade Emperor mad. That human was Erlang Shen's father. So, the Jade Emperor killed the human and punished Erlang Shen's mother. That did not make Erlang Shen happy, and he is frequently at odds with the Jade Emperor. And the only times that he ever helps the court is whenever it is at risk of collapsing, whenever it's like in the most dire of straits, which just so happened to be Wukong and his antics back in the day. Which is why Erlang Shen helped him, because eventually I'm sure that he got sick and tired of assisting the Jade Emperor and wanted Wukong to win. Erlang Shen, Wukong, and one other person that I can't remember the name of are known as like the three rebels in Chinese folklore. Okay, so this is another small, pretty straightforward scene. Wukong gets his like third dosage of immortality after getting escorted to the underworld and taking his name out of the Book of Life and Death, which is basically like all souls are recorded here. And so when you die, your name is in the book. Your name has to be in the book in order for you to die. And so Wukong removes not only his name, he removes all the names of his monkey friends on Mount Huago too, because he's a real one.
Bottoms up, brothers. One final toast before we crash the Celestial Palace.
Jumping back closer to the present day, Wukong, right here, seen in the middle, is feasting before attacking the Jade Palace. This happened before that Erlang Shen fight we saw earlier. All the people down here are the monkeys that he was friends with, the ones that he took the name out of the Book of the Life and Death, the Book of Souls. But if you are wondering who these 6 people are, well, I am here to tell you. You may recognize this guy as the Bull King, one of Wukong's sworn brothers. Well, the other 5 are Wukong's and the Bull King's other sworn brothers. I'll name them all. This is the Lion Spirit King. I have no clue what happens to him in the story. In the story, by the way, it doesn't really explain. But this is the Rock Demon King. I can only assume that this is the Single Horn Demon King. This must be the Snub Nose Monkey Spirit King. And this is the Macaque Spirit King, which, by the way, should not be confused with the 6-eared macaque. The 6-eared macaque that I talked about previously is completely different from Wukong's sworn brother. And at the very end, we get this sad scene showing how each one of them was either defeated or killed or subjugated by the Celestial Court, leaving only Wukong as he walks out to rebel against them once more and finally break free of the golden headband.